Let's dive into another wonderful lesson. Today we're going to deal with secure transactions. Now we've brought in a lot of topics here. This is kind of a prelude to bankruptcy as well, because here we're dealing with the rights, duties, and liabilities of debtors, creditors, and guarantors, also sureties, if this is something that you're familiar with. If not, you'll find out what a surety is. And if all of this doesn't really work out well, guess what? You may have to go to bankruptcy, dealing with debtors and creditors and all that. So there will be a lot of overlap between the two, between bankruptcy and this lesson, because again, if nothing goes well in this, then you probably will find yourself facing bankruptcy. Let's see what our learning objectives are so we can get started. First off, we're going to want to explain the rights, duties, and liabilities of debtors, creditors, guarantors, and understand who these individuals are, who these groups are, and just how they all fit into this big old puzzle of secured transactions and dealing with just the whole common law. We want to identify the rights, duties, or liabilities of debtors, creditors, or guarantors in specific scenarios. Similar to agency law and contract law, we're going to have lots of scenarios. Big old paragraph of text, and you have to identify what's going on in it. It's also very helpful when you have a question on the exam or when you're practicing randomized questions. You try to identify what lesson it belongs to, because then, if your mind works like mine and it's compartmentalized, you can say, okay, I know I'm dealing with this lesson and I saw those rules and I saw those things I need to memorize, and that's within that one lesson. That's just how my mind works. Maybe it is how your works as well. We also want to explain how property can serve as collateral in secure transactions. Simply put, you got a mortgage. That's a secure transaction because your house is collateral. If you don't pay the mortgage, the bank is going to come in. That's not your house anymore. Or maybe it never was, depending on the equity you have in it. It's a whole other topic. We also want to summarize the priority rules of secure transactions. And this is something we'll also see when it comes to our bankruptcy. What's the order of priority? Who gets to go after the collateral first? Because maybe you've got multiple parties in on one transaction. We also want to explain the requirements needed to create and perfect a security interest. That's a whole topic, not even going to give you a prelude to that. This is something, especially overall secure transactions, that a lot of people had issues with and they find confusing. So if you need to rewatch this lesson again, that is totally understandable. That is something that when I've worked through tutoring or in any capacity with individuals, with friends, colleagues, anything like that, this area is one that people struggle with. The concept of PMSI, perfecting a security interest, filing the financing statement, these are all a little bit more complex. So take your time with them. It's totally okay. And just with most things, everyone is learning at a different pace. Everyone has different experiences with our various topics. So that is going to depend, that's going to have an impact on how effectively you get through each lesson. We also want to identify the prioritized ordering of a perfected security interest in a given scenario. And lastly, we want to identify whether a creditor has created and perfected a security interest in a scenario. So again, we're going to dive into what all of this means and so much more as we get started. Hey there! Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material? We'll do it together. Tap into the power of cpa.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.